Well, CJ, we haven't done one of these in a while.
It's been a while, Tina. Excited to get started.
We don't get enough chances to talk that frequently, so I'm going to enjoy this today. All right, welcome everybody. We are now the Freedom Family Investments podcast. This is vlog number 112.
Wow.
Yeah, we've crossed the 100 mark a while ago, but I don't even know in the last one I did with this and what number we were at. But today's topic is balancing real estate investing with a full-time job, or maybe side hustles or whatever. If you have other things on your plate other than real estate investing, how do you balance it all? Right? You may have a family, you may have other commitments. So that's just the general topic of today: how we handle it, how we balance it all, and maybe some of the challenges of the juggling.
Certainly.
So currently, Coco has given us some notes, so we're just going to follow the notes and do as told. So the first thing on the hit list is what our job titles are. I'm the COO of the family of companies. I'm not too super involved with CJ's department, but getting more and more involved every day. CJ, what's your title with us?
Yeah, so I do investor relations here. So really talking to investors, whether that's about turnkeys, private lending, or our apartment syndications, and just ways to kind of get their capital to work. But I'm excited about this topic. I feel like, I don't know the stats out there, but I have to assume the large majority of people get started in real estate while having some other type of employment, right? It's very rare that someone starts out in it right away without having any other type of income coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Just a side note, I remember first learning about real estate and all the investment ways is when I was working at a hotel as a night auditor. So I had a lot of downtime overnight. And that's when I was reading all the researching and reading.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My first foray was tax lien investing. But anyway, on to the next Coco question. When did you decide to buy your first investment property?
Yeah, so right out of school, I went into financial consulting, had a finance degree, and was obsessed with personal finance. And many people who are in real estate, I think that's part of the reason they're in it, is for the personal finance prosper, or to make money of some sort. And as you kind of delve deeper into personal finance and the FIRE movement and all that, I think you start realizing how many people are achieving wealth accumulation or growth through real estate as a means. So right when the pandemic was starting is actually when I purchased my first property. It was a duplex, saved up for a down payment. And now 3 or so years later, I have 25 rentals. So we're trying to get it rolling. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Great. I love that you started at the beginning of the pandemic. What a place to start.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying I was crazy, to begin purchasing properties at that point, right? Just because no one knew what was going on. But I finally decided it was time and just tried to push through the noise.
There really isn't a good time or bad time because it's so cyclical. And if it's down one day, it just comes back. Or there's so many other benefits to owning real estate that the when you buy isn't as big of a factor as a lot of people may think. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, so it definitely also was weird, I think, because I was buying a rental property when I didn't own a home, right? I didn't really own my own home until I had 20 rentals, which is kind of a little backwards to some people, but I did purchase that first property when I had a full-time W-2 job. And that's part of the reason I was able to save up to, put that $25,000 down payment on a rental property. But I think we're about to get into the advice and like what you do and why you would want to have a W-2 job. And a large reason is it makes you really bankable. So people may have heard of this, and I'm sure we'll talk about it when we go deeper into the podcast. But, people have to trust you that you're a good, responsible person. And for banks, that often means that you have 2 years of a scheduled salaried job, because then they know that you're going to be able to consistently make those payments, right? So there are other loan programs out there like debt service coverage ratio loans and things that are more flexible on terms, but are going to often be worse terms for you as the investor, right? They're going to have higher interest rates and all these things. So you get the best loans when you have that W-2 job.
That's true. They're in the box thinking. Lenders are very strict on, okay, do they check this box? Do they check this box? So helping them along those lines, check as many boxes as possible is advantageous to the borrower. And I'll get into it more in the podcast, but I also want to make the point of it does seem a little backwards, but it also, in my mind, one of the key benefits of passive income is that cash funds the fund purchases, like the cars, the houses, the things that, you don't want to spend earned income on necessarily, or it's not the most efficient way or, beneficial way to do that. So,
yeah. And I think, real estate, one of the great things is and sometimes it's a detriment to some people, I think, but there are so many ways to make money with real estate investing. Yes. And you kind of have to, people get this shiny object syndrome, like wholesaling, flipping, short-term rentals like Airbnbs or midterm rentals for travel nurses, and all these different types of real estate investing that I think sometimes they have no idea where to start. And I think a big thing is just taking action and something. That's the common thread from all my podcasts that I do on here, is just to take action and something, because it's going to snowball from there, right? But yeah, and us being, our core business is being an investment turnkey company, right? Somewhere where people can come to purchase a property easily, having all the work done for them and really just bringing their deposit. The majority of our buyers or our clients and investors are W-2, W-2 jobs, right? Or have a W-2. And they are utilizing our service, a done-for-you service, because they lack the time aspect, right? They have the capital, maybe they have the knowledge, but they just don't have the time to do it all themselves, right? So that's why they're coming to us, whether it's to buy a turnkey, to do private lending, earn double-digit returns on their money, or invest in larger assets alongside us, such as our apartment syndications.
Yeah, and that's an easy entry point for them to get started and start learning, because we hold a high regard for education and to teach our clients along the way, and so that they learn and kind of get familiar and acclimated to the whole world, because there's too much. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, certainly.
All right. So we already talked about how many doors you have. Any advice before we close this vlog episode number 112 out?
Yeah, I would just encourage to, as you're exploring to get, knowledgeable about real estate investing, there's a lot of public resources, YouTube, people on social media. But I would really encourage trying to get a little more hands-on, right? Finding someone in your network that has done some sort of real estate investing, going to meetups in your city, because there's one thing about, behind a screen learning, right? But there's something about meeting people in person and making it real, so that you are more likely to take action, right? So I think that's an important piece of advice, I would say. There is time that goes into this, right? You want to make the right decisions, but you're also going to get a lot of noise from people who don't do real estate investing, telling you how it's dangerous or risky and all these things. And I just encourage, take advice from people who are doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's a big piece, I would say, there.
Right. Are they walking the talk versus
Yes.
just repeating what they may have heard elsewhere?
Exactly.
Okay. I like that. I agree with that. All right. You've been listening to, you've been spending time with Freedom Family Investments with CJ and Tina. CJ's our investment relations guy, him along with Ben. If you have any questions or want to reach out and maybe explore some of these options, he's your guy, as well as Ben Cat too. Both of them are the dynamic duo, as I like to say. And
we end everything with invest smart
and live happy.
All right. Awesome, you guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys again soon.
We'll see you on the podcast.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.